Hey y'all, okay, it's time for another episode of HomeWORK with TesHarra, and this one is a labor of love, okay? So guess who had to do the homework? I did. My husband and I, okay? Because this is my rental property that we're getting ready to put back on the market. As a matter of fact, if you have not seen episode 5, pause this video right now and go watch episode 5. And be sure to read the comments because people had a lot to say about the property. Now, I want to get into today a few things about being a landlord, my experience. So this is going to be a very informative, educational video that I think you'll learn a lot from. But I also want to address some of the questions and concerns that you all had in the comments from episode 5. Again, it's worth stopping this video and going to watch episode 5 if you have not. However, okay, so let's talk about being a landlord. There is a lot of responsibility as it relates to becoming a landlord. We actually decided to own property some years ago due to our retirement plan, okay? So that's a whole nother video within itself, but we wanted to put our money somewhere where we knew it would grow and that we would have resources for retirement. So we did buy multiple properties, and the one that I showed you in episode 5 was one of those properties. Now, when we purchased that home, it was an adorable home. And as I said in the video, it was 5 years ago, and it rented really fast. So you can tell that we had it in good condition. There were no issues. Most of the issues you saw in the video, it was not like that 5 years ago. The tenant was happy. We did not raise her rent. She continued to pay the same amount of rent for 5 years. And you all know that the market has changed and that rent should have been raised. My management company even said that we should have raised the rent. We chose not to. However, we don't have, well, I'm going to get into my tenant and what we saw that day in episode 5 a little bit later. But I want to get back to why we became landlords. So again, we do own multiple properties, and it was because of our retirement plan. It's just a smart thing to do to purchase real estate if you can. So I do sell real estate, and then I help people sell their properties, and I help people purchase properties. But also, I think as a real estate agent, should own property myself. It's just a wise decision, and that's what my husband and I decided to do. However, we do not manage our own properties. So we decided to outsource and hire a management company, and that has been working really well. It really has. They take care of the issues. Nothing gets repaired unless they call us and ask us how we feel about it or how we want to pay for it or however. So I love our management company. I love our first property. It was a very wise purchase. And again, yes, we did put work into it to get it livable. However, as a landlord, you all, you're not going to come in and completely gut and renovate a home that you're not trying to sell. If we were trying to sell this home, that would be a different story. But what you want is clean, comfortable. We didn't replace the roof at that time. We did not, the tub didn't look like it looked in episode 5 at all when we handed over the keys. So there's just some things that changed over those 5 years that were beyond our control. But like I said, I want to get into that a little bit later. But we did decide to hire a management company, and that is very important. So interesting story. Our management company actually, I know I don't have the best light. My lighting is usually on point, so just forgive me. I'm actually in the rental property now. Like I said, I'll tell you where we are with everything a little bit later, but forgive my light, but the message is important, okay? So we chose our management company based on, yes, reviews, but it had a low rating, but it looked as if it was because people were disgruntled and upset that the management company was holding them accountable. So sometimes that's what happens. People don't go and say, hey, I had a great experience, but they're quick to go and say, oh, I didn't feel like this was done correctly and what have you. So we have not had an issue with our management company. We do pay them 10%. In the comment section, if you are a landlord, what is your management company charging you? So I'm trying to see what's a standard rate from state to state. I know I have people watching from all over the United States, and I appreciate that. What is your area charging for management fees? Put that in the comment section and share that with me. But I am paying 10% to my management company. And listen, it is worth every dollar. I do know people who say, no, I'm going to manage my own property because I want to keep all my money in my pocket. To us, it just wasn't worth that. Having that direct contact with our tenant, it just was better to have a third party manage that. And to me, things went well. Okay. Lessons learned. Let's see. Because the tenant who just moved out, that was our first move out, get the property ready, flip it to put it back on the market for rent. I think we did a fairly good job. I honestly don't have many regrets. Again, like I said, I'm going to talk to you about what we found the day we came into the home and how we felt about that. Because in the episode 5, I was just really going through the house talking about what I saw. I didn't really go into how it made me feel, what we're going to have to do next. Because as you saw in the title of this video, you know, we spent a lot of money. We spent a lot of money to get this house prepared. Also, make sure you stay tuned and come back to see the big reveal. Today, I felt like the video would have been too long if I did all of this explanation plus the reveal, but we will do another video to show you the final results because the home is finished. For the most part, there's still some cleaning and things, but I'll tell you about that later as well. So lessons learned, I think we did our homework fairly well and we had a pretty good experience. Again, we have tenants in other properties and things are going great. So I don't think we made any major mistakes, but let's jump to what you all saw in episode 5 that had you guys in a frenzy. Okay. Now, we have control over certain things as it relates to our tenant. They have to pay on time. They can't destroy the property. There are walkthroughs that happen. Unfortunately, you all, we can't control the cleanliness or lack thereof of a tenant. So in episode 5, you'll hear me say things like, oh, wow, I'm happy. It's not that bad. You know, I think I made a comment. I can't remember what I said about I'd rather have it dirty than destroyed or something like that. I think that's what I said, actually. I'd rather have it dirty than destroyed. So as a real estate agent, I have seen worse things. And some of you all in the comment section were saying that I have seen where people have taken a sledgehammer and put a hole in every wall so that sheets of drywall has to be replaced in the entire space. I have seen people stuff the toilets with clothing and items, dog food to back up the toilets and things like that. Actually, a client of mine purchased a home in foreclosure where the person had gone through and broken every single window in the home. They left the interior intact and they just went and I guess they couldn't get back in the property. So they went outside and broke every single window. Do you know how expensive that is? So as a landlord, when I come to a home and all I see is a dirty countertop and a dirty tub, and someone had mentioned that there was no mold in the bathroom, that was mildew, okay, because she did not clean ever. And there was moisture there. So that was not mold, that was mildew. And we've taken care of all these issues, by the way. So please come back for the big reveal. I'm so excited to share it with you all. But you're right. I mean, as a landlord, we had money set aside to invest in this flipping to get it back in the market. And that's okay. So if we had to talk about lessons learned, that would be a big one. Save money from the rent that you're receiving to make sure that you have money to get that house back up to par when needed. Okay. Because what you don't want to have is a situation where you have unforeseen repairs and things like that, and you're not ready to put the money into it. Because another tenant, as some of you all said in the comments, of course they wouldn't come and take a bath in that shower, in that tub as it was. Of course, they would hate how the backyard fence was. And as I explained, she just never did yard work. And yes, she should have. Should we have maybe, another lesson learned is coming to me now, impose fines on her to keep the yard cut so the grass would be healthier. This lighting is terrible, you all bear with me, but I'm giving you some gems here. But should we have maybe imposed, fines on her when she didn't do the yard or when she didn't do certain things? Probably so, but we didn't. My management company would write a letter and things like that, and eventually she would get the yard done. But that overgrowth in the backyard that destroyed that fence, that was not like that 5 years ago when we purchased the home. But she allowed it. And so there are some things that we needed to do. So honestly, I was really happy when she moved out, not in a negative way, but the fact that this is our property long term. We're not planning on selling it anytime soon. It needed the maintenance. So all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord. We didn't know she was going to move out, but we were happy that she did because we got a chance to get into this property and do some necessary maintenance. So yes, I agree with you all that the house needs maintenance, but my goodness, some of the comments, you guys, wow. I'm thinking that I'm sharing with you a process that could help you learn, and you all went into the fact that it was like I don't know, it was weird because we didn't live in the home. So whatever you saw had no direct bearing on us. So I didn't understand that part, and I'm sure I'll get comments to explain, or you'll follow up what you meant, but I didn't get it because it's how she lived and it's costing us money. So I was just as outraged as you all are so far as having to clean and redo things. And so also you have to come back because I don't even know if I should tell you all the things we've done. I think, I'm going to let it be a surprise. I was about to list all the work that we have done, which cost us upwards of $15,000. $15K. Now, we put that money, we were going to put that money into this house anyway. 5 years, deferred maintenance is expensive. So, side note, get your notepad out for this one. If you own a home, put some work into it each year. I gave this advice in my last episode. Maybe once a year, pick a project when you get your income tax money or you get a bonus on your job. Do one special thing to your home each year. If it's updating the roof, replacing the units, your HVAC system, do one thing a year while you're living in that home because deferred maintenance is expensive. So that's why we had to spend so much money because it had been 5 years and we have not been into the property. Okay, so those are things that we had to take care of. Now, I want to address the kitchen cabinets. Some of you all said, oh, those cabinets are old. Listen, old does not equate needing to be replaced. They were not damaged. They were not hanging off the hinges. And let me tell you, things that were built like not early 1900s, but late 1900s, early 2000s, is some of the best quality material that you're going to find. I'm actually more concerned about the new construction items happening today than I am the cabinets in that home, okay? So just good quality. Now, one of the perks we had when we bought it, all the windows had been replaced. How cool is that? So we didn't have to replace windows, which would have been a huge cost. And if you have wood windows, they have to come out because eventually you're going to have wood rot or termite issues. So you want to take care of that and replace those with something more, able to endure weather and energy efficient and things like that. But so just some aesthetics, or I shouldn't say aesthetics. I should say cosmetic is the word I'm looking for. We were not going to replace those things 5 years ago. We were trying to get this place safe, clean, nice for someone to move into, and it took a lot of money. But now we've saved money from the rent, and we had the funds to update it and do some really amazing things. I can't wait for you to see it. So we're finishing up, wrapping up some things, and I will have that video out to you. So stay tuned. If you have not subscribed, make sure you subscribe to my channel, which is called Living in Marietta, and HomeWORK with TesHarra. We'll continue to drop gems and help you get your home in order, whether you're trying to sell it or buy it. That's what these episodes are all about. And I told you I help investors as well find properties and make money that way because I am an investor. So don't you want a real estate agent who also is in the business of flipping homes, because we're holding our rentals. When you flip, you do the work and then you put it back on the market. We don't plan on doing that anytime soon. But I think being an investor helps me with my buyers and sellers as well. We were very happy with the fact that our home was not destroyed when that tenant moved out. So please, like I said, go back and see episode 5 because people had some strong opinions and I want to hear yours as well. So go back and tell me what you think about the property. And some people were like, it looks better than where I live. And that's how I told someone in a comment, I said, you know what, excuse me, it's all about what people are used to. Whatever your standard is. Now, if you would like to know, I don't mind being transparent. My tenant was paying $850 a month. And like I said, we did not raise that. Now, that's not to say, and we fixed every single thing she asked for immediately, because I can't sleep comfortably in my home if I know that someone is in a home that I'm renting out uncomfortable. So we were wonderful landlords. Like, she never complained, but she just decided to move on after 5 years. Maybe she's going to own, I don't have a direct relationship with her, in which I advise that you do get that management company, excuse me. But, we did keep the rent low. So you have to consider that. This is not the $2,200 that you may be paying in your city. Well, yes, maybe you have the granite you have the granite countertops, or you have the high-end appliances. That wasn't this. This was safe, secure, nice, clean, living opportunity here. So, again, I'm open to your comments on that, but that's what we wanted, was affordable homes that we took care of and that someone would be glad to live in. Okay. So again, go back and watch episode 5 and let me know what you think. We're going to continue to wrap up this project so I can get you all this final reveal. I can't wait to share it with you. Again, the cost was $15K. Probably a little bit more than that, but that was the cost to get this home ready for the next tenant. And we were more than glad to pay it, because not only will it help us attract our next renter, but it also helps us to take the necessary maintenance and care that we need on our investment. This is an investment for us. So we want to make sure that it is up to par and looks good for whomever is to come. Okay, I think that's it for now. If I have anything else to share, I'll share it in the final reveal video. But this concludes another episode of Homework with TesHarra. I certainly hope to see you here again next week. Until then, class is dismissed. Bye.